Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Coming to you from our fantastic Central Washington location here in Cle Elum, Washington. Want to talk to you about Washington's magazine ban. Why is that? Well, because it appears that the Attorney General, Bob Ferguson, is going on a rampage again. This time he has now found a third gun store that apparently was, according to his allegations, very blatantly selling magazines which were otherwise prohibited by the passage of the ban last year. The place is called Gators Custom Guns. It's down in Kelso, Washington, which happens to be in Cowlitz County. Now, the Attorney General appears to be coming after him in full force, as he did in a couple of other instances, but there's something really different about this one, and it has us all asking, and we're going to ask you and see what you have to say, but did the Washington Attorney General just walk into a trap? Okay, so the story we're talking about, and it's been kicking around the news cycle everywhere, is that an FFL down in Kelso, Washington, called Gators Custom Guns, apparently during a undercover operation this spring, sold multiple high-capacity magazines, what we call standard capacity magazines, but high-capacity magazines under Washington law is now defined as any magazine which holds more than 10 rounds. Now, apparently, Gators has sold a few to undercover agents and apparently has sold quite a few more. In fact, the allegation right now is that they have sold or accumulated for sale 11,408 high-capacity magazines. Now, at $7,500 per magazine, if the Attorney General wanted to do that, you can see how this would add up really, really quick and be awfully devastating for any FFL, including Gators. Now, let's go back in our time machine, because this is not the first of this or even the second time, but there is something really, really different about this. And I want to thank Mr. Guns and Gear, okay? And I know most of you probably already subscribe. He's got way bigger numbers than me, and he should, because he's got a fantastic channel. If you're not subscribed to him, I'm going to link him up down below. He's doing fantastic work, so check him out. Anyways, it was a post I saw by him that was kind of the inspiration for this, and he had pointed out that perhaps this wasn't the best move by the Attorney General. I'll explain why. Now, before we get into that, let's remember that when Senate Bill 5078 was passed last year, it was then codified into two statutes. One is RCW 9.41.370. That's the statute that precludes us from being able to buy new high-capacity magazines, for the stores from being able to sell them, okay? That's the statute. However, what a lot of people don't realize is that there's also RCW 9.41.375, which basically says anybody who sells or offers for sale high-capacity magazines is guilty of a Consumer Protection Act violation and can be assessed a civil fine. Put in other words, it's basically a big, fat, blank check for Attorney General Ferguson to go after and shut down gun stores. Now, as you recall, the first enforcement action of this nature took place at Federal Way Discount Guns. Now, the original allegations was that they sold a handful of magazines. Subsequent allegations have the number far, far higher than that. And obviously, I don't know how that's going to end. I should point out I do not represent any of the FFLs that we're going to be talking about today, so I have no inside knowledge about any of this. How the matter with the Federal Way Discount Guns is going to end remains to be seen. We do know that there were challenges, but those challenges were summarily shot down. We also know that those challenges were made in King County, okay? Remember that, King County. Then we had WGS Guns, which is down in Lakewood. Now, they were also accused of selling a handful of high-capacity magazines. Unlike making a big stink out of it, like what's happened with Federal Way Discount Guns, they paid their fine, kind of shut up, and went on their merry way. Whether that was the right thing or the wrong thing to do, I'm not going to get into that, and candidly, they have the way to conduct their business however they want to. But had they wanted to make all of these challenges similar to what Federal Way Discount Guns had done and challenge the constitutionality of this whole legislative scheme to begin with, well, they would have been fighting that action in Pierce County Superior Court. And much like King County Superior Court, yeah, that's akin to throwing rocks at the moon. So any constitutional challenge to RCW 9.41.370 or .375 that takes place in King County or Pierce County is a futile effort at best, okay? But here's the thing. Now, Gators, who appears to have been really blatant about the way they were selling it, and I don't know if they were doing that because they wanted to pick this fight. I don't know why they were doing it. Again, they do have the right to conduct their business however they want. I'm not going to be critical of that. My job is to explain what the law says. But what's happened now is the Attorney General has sued Gators Custom Firearms in Cowlitz County. Okay, which means if Gators wants to challenge the constitutionality of this action, he could do so, and he could file that in Cowlitz County Superior Court. Now, what's different about Cowlitz County than King or Pierce County? Well, it's which way it leans. Because if you just do the research yourself, you will see that this has always been a relatively narrow county, oftentimes a light blue, but in recent years has become incredibly conservative. And in fact, in the last presidential election, 57.1% of the county voted Republican, while only 39.7% of the county voted Democrat. Let us also remember that when this was challenged as far as an injunction, we had a matter in the United States District Court, Western District of Washington. That was Sullivan v. Ferguson. Again, not the most pro-Second Amendment venue. And then we had a case in the Eastern District of Washington called Brumback v. Ferguson. And we've been waiting on a ruling on the injunction there since, December 23rd. And I still don't know what's going on in that and what's happening with Benitez. I'm sorry, I don't have any answers for. But again, when you take a look at all the venues in which these challenges were taking place, it's a lot different than what's in Cowlitz County now. Take a look also at the challenge that was made under Guardian Arms v. Inslee to Washington's assault weapon ban. Now, that suit was brought in Grant County, likely a much better venue to make these sorts of challenges. But because no one had been sued or prosecuted under it, the Attorney General successfully argued that there had been no injury in Grant County, and therefore, since we were challenging the constitutionality of the statute itself, and the statute had been passed in Thurston County, the matter had to be removed to Thurston County. At that point, we were dead in the water, and that's exactly what's happened. As you know, the injunction was summarily shut down once it got to Thurston County. But you see here, the injury is absolutely positively occurring in Cowlitz County. It's happening to Gators Custom Firearms, which means this suit will be brought in Cowlitz County, where suddenly you have a radically different political makeup. So the question I ask for all of you is, and maybe some of you have inside information or some of you are far wiser than me, is did our Attorney General just walk himself right into a trap? Listen, we're going to very carefully watch this case. This case is going to evolve differently, I think, than the other ones. So we will do other videos on this. In the meantime, if you guys got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of us by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information's right down there in the description box. Now, in the meantime, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.